Question number 161. Select the correct match. And the very first match given is bond between alanine and glycine in a protein chain. And the bond given is ester bond. And as it is an incorrect match, this cannot be a correct answer to our question, because the bond that is present between alanine and glycine, which are amino acids, in a protein chain is a peptide bond and not an ester bond. The next match is bond between adenine and pentose sugar in DNA, and the bond given is glycosidic bond. And as it is a correct match, this is a correct answer to our question. The next match is bond between guanine and cytosine on anti-parallel strands of DNA, and the bond given is phosphodiester bond. And as it is an incorrect match, this cannot be a correct answer to our question, because GC or guanine and cytosine on anti-parallel strands of DNA are bound together with the help of hydrogen bond. Three hydrogen bonds between guanine and cytosine and 2 hydrogen bond between adenine and thymine. The last match given is bond between glucose and glucose in starch molecule, and the bond given is peptide bond. And this is an incorrect match, so cannot be a correct answer to our question. Peptide bond is present between amino acids in protein chain, whereas in between glucose in starch molecule, glycosidic bonds are present. So the correct answer to this question is option number 2. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 162. R group of acidic amino acid can be presence of additional carboxyl group on the side chain indicates acidic nature of amino acid. So among the given options, you need to find out an additional carboxyl group. In the very first option, R chain, that is CH2OH, is an alcoholic side chain. So this cannot be a correct answer. In the second option, R group represents CH3, which is a neutral side chain. So this cannot be a correct answer. In the third option, R group represents phenolic side chain. So this cannot be a correct option. Whereas in the last option, side chain represents CH2CH2COOH. That means additional carboxyl group. So this is a correct answer to our question, which represents acidic side chain or R group of acidic amino acid. So the correct answer to this question is option number 4. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 163. A protein is composed of only one polypeptide chain. This protein acts as an enzyme. Upon attaining which level of structural organization can it bind to its substrate? And the options given are quaternary, secondary, primary, and the last option is tertiary. The very first option, quaternary, cannot be a correct answer to our question, because quaternary structure is exhibited by proteins that have more than one polypeptide chain, whereas in the question our protein is composed of only one polypeptide chain. Now active site is formed by folding of protein chain at tertiary level. And it is this level of structural organization where this protein can bind to its substrate. So the correct answer to this question is option number 4, tertiary. Whereas primary and secondary level of organization cannot be a correct answer, because the level of organization which is necessary for biological activities of most of the proteins is tertiary level. So the correct answer to this question is option number 4. Let's discuss our next question. Question number 164. The proportion of adenine bases in a sample of DNA was reported to be 18%. Select the true statement in the above context. And the very first option given is guanine basis in above sample is 32%. Second option is cytosine basis in above sample is 18%. Third option, thymine basis in above sample is 64%. And the last option is purine basis in above sample is 64%. Now in order to attempt this question, you must apply Chargaff's rule first. It is given that adenine basis in a sample of DNA was 18%. A, adenine base pairs with thymine, so it is equivalent to thymine ratio, which says 18%. And since guanine concentration is equivalent to cytosine concentration, which will be equal to 32%. Each guanine and cytosine bases in given DNA sample make up 32%. So, total purine content A plus G will be equal to 50%. Now let's discuss the options again. The very first option, guanine basis in above sample is 32%, and as it is a correct statement, this is a correct answer to our question because guanine as well as cytosine in above sample is 32%. The next option is cytosine basis in above sample is 18%, and this is incorrect because cytosine also constitutes 32% of this DNA sample. The third option is thymine basis in above sample is 64%, and this is incorrect because thymine as well as adenine will make up 18%. Each base will make up 18% of this DNA sample. The last option is purine basis in above sample is 64%, and this is also an incorrect statement because total purine content is 50% and not 64%. So the correct answer to this question is option number 1. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 165. Polymer of fructose is, and the options are insulin, inulin, glycogen, starch. And the correct answer to this question is option number 2, inulin, which is a polymer of fructose. Let's discuss rest of the options. The very first option is insulin, and this cannot be a correct answer to our question. Insulin is a heteropolymer of amino acid. It's a proteinaceous biomolecule which is a heteropolymer of amino acids. The next option is glycogen and starch, and these are incorrect options because glycogen and starch are polymers of glucose. So the correct answer to this question is option number 2. Let's discuss our next question.